For the first time in the history of professional football, the league is dealing with something it never planned for. Players who made more money in college than the NFL is offering them as rookies. The 2026 draft class just walked across the stage in Pittsburgh, and for some of them, that handshake with the commissioner came with a pay cut. So let's get into how this happened, starting with the numbers. Nobody in the league office wants to talk about. In 2026, the Las Vegas Raiders selected Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza with the number 1 overall pick. His NFL rookie deal is slotted to top $57 million, including nearly $10.5 million in 2026. That's the biggest rookie contract in NFL history. The number 2 pick is in line for roughly $52 million. The number 3 pick comes in at around $50.5 million. Those numbers sound massive, and they are for the top of the board. In 2026, a rookie deal topped $50 million in total value for the first time, as the salary cap continued climbing. But here's where it gets interesting. The NFL's salary cap moved up to $301.2 million in 2026, and the minimum base salary for an NFL rookie in 2026 is $885,000, up from $840,000 in 2025. That minimum salary applies to late-round picks, the guys taken in rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. Those players signed 4-year deals worth as little as $4.3 million total. In their first year, some of them will earn less than $920,000. Now, remember that number, because top programs are now spending up to $20.5 million on student athletes, with the majority earmarked for the most talented football players. That means there are college football players right now, today, making more than $1 million a year to play football in a conference that doesn't even have a playoff mandate. Philadelphia Eagles general manager Howie Roseman put it plainly. The biggest issue is that, for the first time in the history of the National Football League, you're taking players who are taking pay cuts. That statement right there is the earthquake. The NFL, the richest professional sports league on the planet, is now being outbid by universities. The 2026 draft class includes players like Quinn Ewers, who reportedly turned down NIL deals worth up to $8 million to stay in college when he entered last year's draft. He entered the NFL anyway. As a 7th-round pick, Ewers got a 4-year, $4.3 million contract. That's $8 million sitting on the table in Austin, Texas. And he walked into an NFL locker room for roughly half that amount. Spread over 4 years, the math doesn't add up anymore. Or rather, it adds up perfectly, just not in the NFL's favor. Since 2011, the league has used a rookie wage scale for the contracts of every player selected in the draft, depending on the slot a player is taken at. There are already specific salary parameters in place over a 4-year deal. That system was supposed to be the solution. It was supposed to end the chaos of unproven rookies, commanding veteran money before playing a single snap. And for more than a decade, it did exactly that. But the world outside the NFL changed, and the rookie wage scale didn't change with it. To understand why players are now pushing back, you have to go back to 2010, the year the St. Louis Rams made Sam Bradford the first overall pick. Bradford agreed to a 6-year, $78 million contract. That deal included $50 million in guaranteed money. He hadn't taken a single snap in the NFL. He'd never been sacked by a professional defensive end. He'd never thrown a touchdown pass on a Sunday. And he was already richer than some of the league's best veterans. NFL owners were furious. They had watched for years as agents leveraged draft position into contracts that rivaled or exceeded what established veterans received. Rookies were coming into the NFL negotiating deals that were equal, if not greater, to the contracts that established veterans received. First overall picks like Sam Bradford and Matthew Stafford walked into organizations with top-tier guaranteed money, having never suited up in a professional game. So the owners pushed hard during the 2011 collective bargaining agreement negotiations. The result was the rookie wage scale, a structure that locked every drafted player's contract to their draft slot. That system changed with the 2011 CBA, which introduced fixed 4-year rookie contracts tied to draft position. The immediate result was a big drop in rookie salaries. Cam Newton's 2011 deal was worth around $22 million, nearly 70% lower than Bradford's the previous year. The message from the league was crystal clear: you haven't earned it yet. Prove yourself, then get paid. And for a while, that's exactly how things worked. First-round picks receive 4-year contracts with a 5th-year team option. These deals are fully guaranteed, making them the most secure in the draft. Second-round picks got partial guarantees. Third round and below, your signing bonus was guaranteed, and that was essentially it. Rookie contracts cannot be renegotiated or reworked until after the third season of the deal. So for the first 3 years of a player's NFL career, they were locked in. No matter how well they played, no matter how many Pro Bowls they made, no matter how many records they broke, the team held all the cards. And every player knew it before draft night even began, tied to incremental increases in the salary cap. Between 2020 and 2024, the value of the number 1 pick's contract went up from $36 million to $39 million. Then the NIL era hit like a freight train. In 2025, the number 1 pick's contract jumped up to $48 million. Now in 2026, it's at $54 million. That's a $15 million increase in 2 years, more than the entire growth of the previous 4 years combined. The NFL felt the pressure and adjusted the scale upward, but even with those adjustments, the structure still doesn't account for what's happening in college football. On July 1st, 2021, the NCAA's long-standing amateurism model cracked wide open when name, image, and likeness compensation was permitted. For college athletes, the 2021 NCAA v. Alston Supreme Court ruling put the entire amateurism model under legal siege, and rather than risk further antitrust exposure, the NCAA voluntarily opened NIL compensation in July 2021. The intent was to let college athletes monetize their personal brands, do a commercial for a local car dealership, sign a shoe deal, launch a YouTube channel. What actually happened was something far more seismic: the House v. NCAA settlement in June 2025, permitting schools to share up to $20.5 million annually in direct revenue with athletes. Donor collectives now function as shadow payrolls, offering 5-, 6-, and 7-figure packages with minimal deliverables. College football morphed almost overnight into a semi-professional league, where a starting quarterback at a Power 4 program could realistically earn more than several NFL positions paid in their first year. Nearly half of the top 50 NIL valuations in 2025 belong to quarterbacks, according to On3, with 24 of those over $1.5 million. And those are just the publicly disclosed valuations. The actual revenue share payments going directly from schools to athletes are typically undisclosed, meaning the real number could be significantly higher. This created a bizarre and unprecedented scenario for the 2026 draft. Consider the quarterbacks who heard their names called beyond the first 2 rounds. LSU's Garrett Nussmeier and Miami's Carson Beck were both likely earning less as NFL rookies than they made as established college starters. Same goes for fellow QBs, Drew Allard, Taylon Green, Cole Payton. That is a staggering list. These aren't undrafted free agents trying to make a roster. These are players who were selected in the NFL draft, the supposed pinnacle of a young football player's career. And their reward is less money than they were already making. For the elite prospects at the very top of the draft, the NFL still wins. For players like Travis Hunter last year or Mendoza this year, it made a lot of sense for them to pass up on the NIL money to start their professional careers. When you're getting $54 million over 4 years, NIL can't compete. But the further you slide down the draft board, the more the equation flips on its head. Quinn Ewers reportedly had an NIL offer twice the value of his contract. Even Carson Beck went back to school for the 2026 season to collect a bigger NIL check before eventually entering the draft this year. The calculus has fundamentally changed. For mid-round and late-round prospects, staying in college could be the more financially rational decision. Fewer college football players entered the NFL draft early due to NIL pay and transfers. Dante Moore and Arch Manning both notably returned for another year of NCAA play. These are potential first-round talents choosing to stay in the college system, not because they need more development, but because the money is better right where they are. A gap is opening up between elite players who are still declaring early and getting drafted high, and mid-tier guys who are electing to hold off on the pros while still getting paid. The NFL draft is getting older, and the league is watching its pipeline slow down in real time. Players aren't just grumbling about the money, they're doing something about it. The modern era of rookie holdouts under the wage scale began in 2016, when Joey Bosa refused to report to the San Diego Chargers after being selected 3rd overall. The Chargers and 3rd overall pick Joey Bosa engaged in the longest contract dispute, for an incoming NFL player under the rookie wage scale. Bosa missed 31 days before signing his contract. The dispute wasn't about the dollar amount. The wage scale had already predetermined that. The disagreement was largely over the payment schedule of Bosa's signing bonus. 2 years later, linebacker Roquan Smith was selected 8th overall by the Chicago Bears and immediately ran into similar problems. Smith missed the first 2 weeks of training camp because he and his agents objected to language, where the Bears had the right to void his guarantees for an ejection or suspension from a game for violating NFL playing rules. Again, it wasn't the money. It was the fine print, the parts of the contract that most fans never hear about, but that agents and players pore over word by word. Then came 2025 and Shemar Stewart. The Bengals selected him 17th overall, and what followed was a saga that dominated the offseason. When the Bengals drafted Shemar Stewart with the 17th pick, he couldn't have envisioned he would miss rookie minicamp, OTAs, and mandatory minicamp. The dispute was over the language in Stewart's contract that would trigger the voiding of his salary guarantees with a breach or default. The Bengals wanted to tighten up the language. Stewart's camp wanted the same terms previous Bengals first-rounders had received. Stewart didn't mince words during the dispute. "I'm 100% right. I'm not asking for nothing y'all have never done before," he said. He added that the team would rather win arguments more than winning more games. He eventually signed a 4-year, fully guaranteed contract worth $18.97 million, with a $10.4 million signing bonus, but only after missing the entire offseason program and the first days of training camp. If Stewart's holdout was a tremor, what happened next in the second round of the 2025 draft was a full earthquake. The Houston Texans made the decision to fully guarantee the contract of second-round receiver Jaden Higgins, the 34th overall pick. That forced the Cleveland Browns' hand to do the same. With the 33rd pick, linebacker Carson Schwessinger. Then the rest of the second round stopped signing deals. Nobody broke ranks, with no agent or player wanting to be the one who would sign for less. 32nd rounders remained unsigned as rookies began reporting for camp. That is an astonishing number. The entire second round, minus 2 players, was in a standoff with their teams. Wide receiver Trey Harris, selected 55th overall, became a litmus test. His Los Angeles Chargers were the first NFL team to report, but Harris did not appear at camp until his contract was done. The players held firm, and the league blinked. The 2025 draft produced total guarantees of $247.2 million for the second round, up from $185.7 million the previous year. 7 players in the second round received fully guaranteed contracts, an unprecedented milestone for that round. The NFLPA's director of salary cap, Adam Richelieu, called it exactly what it was. "This is a tremendous win that will literally pay dividends for our union's current and future members." So where does this all go from here? The 2026 draft just concluded in Pittsburgh, and the battle lines are drawn more clearly than ever. The NFL's next collective bargaining agreement, projected around 2030, will almost certainly address rookie-scale compensation. It has to. The league built a pay structure that assumed college would always be free labor, and that assumption just cost them a top 5 quarterback who chose Oregon over the Jets. The ripple effects are visible everywhere you look. This year's progress in better guarantees for draft picks means they'll seek more of the same in 2026. It could be that half the second round has fully guaranteed contracts, or that the top of the third round can now seek partial guarantees where none exist now. The dominoes are falling, and each draft class pushes the frontier further. Someone like Reuben Bain Jr. falling from a top 5 pick to closer to number 10 could cost him more than $20 million. That's the financial reality of the rookie wage scale. Your draft slot determines everything, not your talent, not your potential, and not what any other league or institution is willing to pay you. If Jeremiah Love lands with the Titans instead of the Saints, that's a $13 million difference. The Cardinals took Love at number 2, meaning he landed near the top of the pay structure, but dozens of other players in this class weren't so fortunate. The disparity between the top and bottom of the first round alone is breathtaking. The number 1 overall pick is set to earn a total of $54,565,500 over 4 years, according to Spotrac. In contrast, the number 32 overall pick is estimated to receive $16,168,614 over their 4-year rookie deal. That's a $38 million gap between 2 players in the same round of the same draft. and the drop-off from pick 32 to pick 33 is around $3.23 million over the life of the 4-year deal. A steep cliff for the difference of a single selection. It will only become more common for players to enter the NFL and have to accept contracts that pay them less than they made in college. And NFL teams will want to know that those players won't put in less effort when they're paid less money. That's a legitimate concern. When you have a player who made $2 million in college and you're offering him $915,000 as an NFL rookie, the presumption that every drafted player is thrilled just to be in the league doesn't hold the same weight anymore. The NFL is the most powerful sports league on earth. It generates more revenue than any other, it commands the largest television audiences, and it pays its top players more than any other sport. But the rookie wage scale, designed in an era when college athletes earned nothing, has created a paradox the league never anticipated. The college game is no longer the minor leagues. It's a competing employer, and some of these young men are looking at the NFL's opening offer and saying exactly what the title suggests: that's not enough. The NFL is one of the few sports that doesn't have fully guaranteed contracts upon signing. Unless otherwise negotiated, it's a sign the next collective bargaining agreement will feature more guaranteed money for rookies as well as NFL players. But that next CBA isn't projected until 2030 or 2031, which means for the next several draft classes, we should expect more holdouts, more tension, more players with NIL leverage, refusing to sign on the dotted line until the terms improve. The game is changing. The players know it. The agents know it. The general managers are starting to admit it. And the fans, the ones watching the draft in Pittsburgh, the ones refreshing their phones for pick notifications, the ones buying jerseys before a player has attended a single meeting, they're about to see a league forced to reckon with something it never imagined: that being drafted into the NFL might actually be a step down.